The Kethran Warmaster Versha had killed 17 sentients in ritual combat. Her claws bore the notches of each victory, her hide the scars of 100 battles. She stood before Commander Julia Okonkwo with contempt radiating from every scale. "Your species weeps for the fallen," Versha hissed. "Weakness." Julia met her gaze steadily. "We weep because we remember. Memory makes us stronger." "Impossible. Grief is paralysis." "Is it?" Julia gestured to the viewing port, where Kethran warships patrolled the border. "Your people have fought the Syndicate for 20 years. You've lost worlds. We've been fighting them for 5 and we've taken 3 systems back. Tell me again about weakness." Versha's tail lashed, but she said nothing. The real problem waited in the training bay. Skara, Versha's offspring, had refused her blood right. At 8 cycles, she should have executed a prisoner to prove her worth. Instead, she'd released them. The shame had nearly cost Versha her rank. "Fix this," Versha demanded. "The human methods, teach them to my daughter. Make her strong without the blood right." Julia studied the Warmaster. "You're asking me to change her. I'm asking you to save her. Without the right, she is nothing. She will be cast out." Skara was smaller than Julia expected, barely 6 feet of coiled muscle and midnight scales. Her eyes, one clouded from some old injury, fixed on Julia with disturbing intensity. "You're the human who holds grief," the young Kethran said in careful standard. "I'm the human who remembers my dead, yes. Mother says it makes you weak." Julia sat cross-legged on the floor, bringing herself to Skara's eye level. "I lost my entire squad on Proxima 7. 19 soldiers. I remember every name, every face. When I lead others into battle, I carry them with me. Does that sound weak?" Skara's head tilted. "You lead after losing?" "I lead because I lost. I remember what failure costs. I fight so no one else has to carry what I carry. The blood right teaches us to forget, to move beyond mercy." Julia's voice hardened. "Mercy isn't something you move beyond. It's something you carry forward. Let me show you." The simulation chamber projected a scenario Julia knew intimately. A hostage situation, armed insurgents, civilians trapped in a crossfire. Standard Kethran doctrine. Eliminate all threats, acceptable civilian casualties below 30%. "Show me what you do," Julia said. Skara moved through the simulation with lethal efficiency. She identified firing positions, calculated kill zones, optimized for maximum enemy casualties. 12 hostiles eliminated. 9 civilians dead in the crossfire. "Acceptable losses," Skara reported. "Mission success." Julia reset the simulation. "Now watch." She moved differently, slower, more carefully. She used cover to protect civilians, suppressing fire instead of kill shots. She called for surrender, offered surrender, created escape routes. When the shooting ended, all 12 hostiles were neutralized. 2 civilians injured, 0 dead. "That took 3 times as long," Skara protested. "Tactically inefficient. Run the scenario forward 6 months. In my version, those civilians become allies, intelligence sources, recruits. In your version, their families become enemies. Which is more efficient over time?" Skara's scales rippled. Confusion, perhaps fascination. "You fight. Remembering what comes after? We fight remembering that wars end. That we have to live with what we've done. That mercy today might mean survival tomorrow." For 2 weeks, they trained. Julia taught Skara to see beyond the immediate kill, to calculate the cost of every action in lives saved, not just enemies eliminated. The young Kethran learned to read human tactical doctrine, the strange way humans balance ferocity with restraint, how they mourned their enemies even as they defeated them. "I don't understand," Skara admitted during a night session. "You could be more lethal if you cared less. Why burden yourself with grief?" Julia was quiet for a moment. "Because the alternative is becoming the thing we fight against. We remember our losses so we never inflict them carelessly. We grieve so we never forget the cost. That's not weakness, Skara. That's the only thing that keeps us human." "But I'm not human." "No. But you could be Catherine in a new way. Stronger because you choose when to show mercy, not because someone forced you to forget how. The evaluation came before the war council. Versha stood rigid while Skara entered the arena. A prisoner knelt in the center, a syndicate soldier captured during a recent skirmish. Tradition demanded swift execution. Skara approached slowly, her claws extended. The prisoner flinched. The council watched in silence. Then Skara stopped. "What is your unit designation?" The prisoner stammered coordinates. Skara's eyes narrowed. She turned to the council. "This soldier's unit hit Outpost 7, where my clutch sister died." Versha's scales darkened with pride. Now her daughter would take proper vengeance. "By Catherine law, this one dies by my claw." Skara's voice carried through the chamber. "But by human wisdom, I ask, what happens next? We kill the soldier. Their unit retaliates. More Catherine die. More humans die. The cycle continues." She looked directly at Julia standing in the observation gallery. "The human teaches that we carry our dead with us not as fuel for rage, but as reminder of what we fight to prevent. My clutch sister died for nothing if her death only creates more death." Skara sheathed her claws. "I offer this prisoner exchange for intelligence. Let their information save lives. Let my mercy today become tomorrow's victory. This is my blood right. I choose to be strong enough to show restraint." The silence was absolute. Then Versha stepped forward. For a terrible moment, Julia thought she might strike her own daughter down. Instead, the War Master placed her clawed hand on Skara's shoulder. "The blood right proves strength," Versha said slowly. "My daughter has proven hers. She is strong enough to choose mercy, strong enough to remember, strong enough to be Catherine. And something more." The prisoner was led away. Intelligence debriefs began immediately. Within 3 days, the information provided led to the liberation of 17 Catherine prisoners and the dismantling of a syndicate weapons depot. Julia found Skara on the observation deck, staring at the stars. "I still grieve my clutch sister," the young Catherine said quietly. "It should," Julia replied. "That pain reminds you why you fight, why mercy matters, why every life, even an enemy's, is a choice with consequences. Is this how humans became strong? By carrying all this weight?" Julia smiled sadly. "We became strong by learning that some weights are worth carrying. The memory of who we've lost, the mercy we choose to show, the grief that reminds us we're still alive. These don't make us weak. They make us human." "I'm not human," Skara repeated. "No," Julia agreed. "But maybe you're showing us all what comes next. What happens when strength and mercy aren't opposites. When remembering the dead doesn't paralyze us. It guides us." Above them, the stars burned cold and distant. But in that moment, on one ship between worlds, something had shifted. The Catherine would never see strength quite the same way again. And the human asked for nothing in return. Just the chance to prove that sometimes, carrying the weight of kindness is the strongest thing anyone can do.